Case cover collision. Each and every week, I choose a different movie and look at the different case covers for that movie and put them up against each other to find out which one is the best and which one is the winner of case cover collision. Now, this week on Case Cover Collision, I will be looking at the movie Superman 2. This movie is, Christopher Reeves. This movie is actually getting a 4K release that I'm going to be looking at the case cover soon. And it's the 4K release with the original theatrical cut on, and also the Richard Donner cut as well. So there was two cuts of that movie, theatrical and Richard Donner. And I believe the Richard Donner was released a few years later, but they're going to be putting both of them on one release for the 4K, and we're going to be looking at case cover. But let's just talk about these movies. Look, I do like the Superman movies, but this movie doesn't kind of hold a lot of memories for me. But I think the first two are definitely the best ones. I think like 3 and 4, I've watched them all, but I've never been a massive fan of the later ones. So this one is a good movie. I've got to be honest with you, though, I couldn't even tell you for the life of me which cut I've seen. It's got to be, I've got the DVD back here, and I imagine it's just like the original theatrical cut of this movie. So it'd be interesting to see what the huge difference is with the Richard Donner cut and see if it's if it feels like a different movie watch, and watching them both side by side. So it's I think Christopher Reeve was a fantastic Superman. He just was Superman for a lot of people, and for me as well. I think him and Henry Cavill, who is the best? I mean, they're both great, but Christopher Reeve, I think he is still, he embodies Superman in many ways for a lot of people still, and he's just a, pop culture icon really for a lot of people. So let's look at this anyway. So this 4K is going to be released later on this month. I will drop in a link below for the 4K if you want to purchase it, and it will be an Amazon affiliate link. If you purchase it through that link, some money goes to the Movie Cheer Pod, so always appreciate your support. So let's look at this 4K anyway. First of all, it's kind of interesting because it looks like a 2-pack of a movie. It looks like, where you get like a Superman 1 and Superman 2, but they've got the same cover. So they've got the Superman 2 cover, and it's split halfway down the case cover, and then you've got Christopher Reeve doing his Superman pose, like flying throughout the streets of Metropolis. And then beneath that, you've got the same look again, same logo, Superman 2, but then it says the Richard Donner cut underneath. You've got General Zod and all these evil friends in the background this time, but the same exact image of Christopher Reeve's Superman here again. But the colours do change, so it looks like very much like a Flash color. Do you know, like the scheme, the background looks like a high speed. Do you know, you see the Flash in the TV show where he's like running fast? It's like Superman's racing fast through the city, so everything's sort of like all what's the word? It's just like all high pacey. You don't really see stuff. It's all, the image is all over the place. So the top bit is using colours of the blues and reds in the street, and then beneath that the colours are different. It's more like reds, yellows, darker colours. The theatrical cut looks like it's got like more of a bright look to it, whereas the Richard Donner cut looks more of like a darker look. Now, whether that is to say the Richard Donner cut is a more darker cut of this movie, that'd be interesting to see whether they've done that purposely with these use of colours. I do, in some ways, I like what they've done here, because it's very unusual that they've used the same look on both images, and it's kind of like they've done it like a 2-pack really. But it also, I don't know, I think I'm kind of torn with this one, whether it's actually good or it's kind of unique. It is definitely unique what they've done, but also it looks kind of like a bit cheap as well at the same time. So I'm torn between whether it's unique that they've done like a 2-pack look, that it's with the Richard Donner cut, or whether it's just a cheap sort of like design and they just like copy and pasted the cover really twice over. I do like the look of it. I think I'm probably torn between this looks a bit more on the cheap side, I'll be honest with you, rather than unique. It's okay, but I think it would have looked better if they used the top cover with the light colours and then feature at the bottom saying this includes the theatrical and the Richard Donner cut at the bottom of the screen. I think it would have I get they've tried to do something different here, but for me, I don't know, maybe if they had like two Supermans going up against each other or something like that, and then they had the Richard Donner one side, Theatrical the other side, something like that, would have popped a bit more for me. It doesn't, just something about it just doesn't pop as much as it should, really. But it's not something, it's not like I dislike it. It's okay. So let's move on now to the DVD cover. DVD cover of Superman 2. It's got a blue background, like a blue sort of like sleeve around it, and then you see within the sleeve, this rectangle, we see the city of Metropolis and Superman doing the same pose in the last image, flying over the city landscapes, over the water, and very heroic pose, very cool look to Superman, heroic pose, heroic look. He looks amazing as Superman, Christopher Reeve. And then above you have the Superman text in that same font as the last one of this movie. Now, for me, this one pops a bit more. It just looks better. I think this is what I would have wanted to see more in the 4K. Just more similar. I think it would have been better if they went just what the DVD went, but just made it a bit more attractive, a bit more experimental, maybe, do some cool visuals in the background. But I would have just liked to have seen one Superman maybe here. Or, like I said, just a different design completely. But this one, for me, just is a lot better than the 4K. I think it just, the colours are better, the blues, the lighter tone. Superman is a very light tone movie. It's not like a heavy, dark, evil sort of superhero movie. Very light, very comedic. And this, for me, the colours really tell that here. City landscapes, you see there's reds and stuff, but that matches the suit. But the blues are really prominent in this, and I think for me, the blues really bring out that sort of like hero lighter tone to what this movie is. And I really like this cover. So for me, so far, the DVD cover is winning over the 4K. Next, we go to the Blu-ray release, and this is a US import, I believe, this one. Again, this is different. So we got General Zod at the bottom of the screen, just a sort of like a mid-shot of him and all the other villains in this movie, three of the villains. And we then see they're in like sort of like just in their suits, looking at the camera. Then we get the same text of Superman in the middle, but very much a very larger look at this font this time, Superman 2. And it says underneath, Alan Gagan. No, this is definitely not. Hang on, this is not a US import. This is not a US release because I don't know what this is. I have no idea which release this is now. I'm looking at. It says, is that French? Maybe this is like a French or a German release. I reckon it's like French or some of this. But we're going to look at it anyway because I've got it on my list and it seems pointless going back now. So this is whoever Alan is. That maybe that's the title? Is it Quest for Peace or something like that? The subtitle, I don't know. But then we see Superman above that doing the same pose again, but it looks like a lot more. It's like they changed the colour slightly, and it really does add a bit more of a special pop here to that. And then in the background, we've got like all these like smoke and flames, and it's like Superman is coming out of the smoke and flames to come to the rescue here. Now, what I do like about this cover is the background colour with the Superman silver font really does stand out noticeably here, and I think Superman looks a lot better. Just something about what they've done to the lighting around him really just makes him stand out a lot more as well. And what I don't like though is the villains underneath. I think the villains kind of look a bit. They look boring. Just look really boring. They're just looking at the camera. You've got really this great look at Superman, and then you get the villains just like doing like a portrait for a camera in front of it. It just looks boring. But it does pop really well. Which one is better though, this Blu-ray or the DVD? I gotta say, this Blu-ray, oh god, this is tough. I would say the Blu-ray, but the villains at the bottom just looks really bad. It looks bad because the rest of it really pops, but I'm gonna go with the DVD so far. The DVD is my winner so far of case cover collision, but there is one more to look at, one more case cover, ladies and gents. The last case cover we're going to look at is this one here. Superman 2, the Richard Donner cut, this is the US import, this is where I was getting confused. Blu-ray release, and it is, again, this is a very different cover here for us all, ladies and gents. So, very different text at the top of the screen. Superman 2 in this grey font, the Richard Donner cut, really bold font at the top. Then you've got like a black background here, and then you see, the classic Superman opening his suit, and we're seeing the Superman symbol. We don't see Christopher Reeve's face. We just see a close-up shot of Superman's chest and that iconic pose of Superman, ripping his suit apart to show he is Superman and get ready to prepare for action here. Wow, this is, for me, look, things I would change here. I think it would look better with the classic Superman font that you used in the DVD and the rest of the releases here. I think that would have popped a bit more. But they went for something different, maybe because it was the Richard Donner cut, and maybe this was one of the first releases of that cut. So they went for something a bit different, but I do like the fact that they went for something completely different with Superman, opening the suit and seeing the crest of Superman. I like that because they've done something completely different there. So for me, this one, something like this would have been better for the 4K. Something similar to this sort of vibe. It's going completely in a different route than what the DVD and the Blu-rays, the other ones, are doing. But for me, this is great, but it kind of looks darker. Again, this is maybe going into that sort of like feel of the Richard Donner cut is a darker feel to the movie than the original theatrical cut. Look, everyone sees this down a DVD aisle in HMV, and they see it, and Superman, it pops. But I would look at this, and it looks to me more like a documentary of Superman rather than the Superman movie. I think you've got to show Christopher Reeves there as Superman for people to recognise the fact that it's a Superman movie, because it looks more like a documentary about Superman. So for me, I've got to say, my favourite on today's edition of Case Cover Collision, the winner of Case Cover Collision today is the DVD cut, the DVD release anyway, of Superman 2. I think it's great, it's, I love the blue sleeve around it. Sure, there's certain points, I think the Blu-ray cover pops a bit more in certain areas, but I think you've got the hero in there, you see the hero, the font is great, I love the font of Superman, the background of the city, Metropolis that he is there to, be the hero for, and you feel the vibe of what this movie is from this case cover. This is a Superman movie, and for me it says it all. It is the winner of this week's edition of Case Cover Collision.